everybody. So, welcome to our interview in the Inker series. And this is our series to interview 49 women. So, why 49? Because 49.6% of the world is women. So, we thought we should interview 49 of the amazing women we've had an opportunity to get to know and feature in this program. So today we have with us Vita Dani. As usual, I'm not going to give a long intro. You're going to know everything about her as we talk about her instead of doing an intro. So, Vita, I mean, in an unusual coincidence, we are all in off-white today, and including the beautiful painting behind you. So before we start, why don't you tell us what's behind you?
Th- Thanks, Lakshmi, first of all, for having me over. So, behind me is a woven painting of Mahatma Gandhi. And as you know, he's very special, not only for our country, but to many around the world. And he always uh, spoke about Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, which was a very popular bhajan. And that whole bhajan is written to get his formation. And I think it's his values that really stay with us, that stay with me. And that's why
Mhm.
the painting over here, right behind me.
Great, great. Have to you are one of the few women in sports management, actually. In India, across the globe, there are very few women who lead sports teams, who own sports teams, etc. You're one of the few who's in that, and you're not in one but two sports. You're in football as well as table tennis. So I want to start a little bit with where did your interest in sports start? When you were young, did you always think you were going to grow up and own sports, or did you play sports? Like, where did this start for you?
You know, Lakshmi, when we grew up, we had a very simple childhood. After we came back from school, we used to just put all our bags away and go down and play. So we used to live in this apartment building with almost 24 flats or 24 apartments. And imagine each apartment on an average having two children.
Yeah.
So out of those 50 children, at least 25% would be down. So we were
Yeah.
always plenty of us playing together and having a great time, physically active. And
Mhm.
I just think it was a fantastic childhood that I've had. And it has always stayed with me. When I look at today's children, they are so much into digital world that
Mhm.
sometimes get these simple pleasures of life.
Mhm.
And when my children were growing up, I was very clear that they are going to go and have these fun times. They're going to go and roll and play in the sand pit. They're going to go play by the beach, or they're going to just go play in the garden and just have fun. And that's the reason why my children virtually lived in something called the Willingdon Club, which is 5 minutes away from our house. And I think it's a paradise. So children just go there and explore different sports, depending on their mood, depending on the time they have, and the availability of the courts. And that's how they were always exposed. In that whole journey, what happened was that my son took on to sports a lot more than we ever thought or imagined or even dreamt, as a matter of fact. Because both Jalaj and I are not, or nobody in our family is an athlete. And then to say that, okay, our son is a professional athlete was a big thing. And since he was involved
I mean,
in
he's not just
sports,
an athlete. He plays internationally, professionally. So tell us a little bit about what he does.
yeah, so he plays table tennis professionally. And he started his journey when he was about 10. And what happened was my mother was needed some medical attention and to take care of her. I said, I will move in with my children. And that kind of took me back to my childhood of, playing down with children in that apartment. And same thing happened to my son Mudit, and he would go down and play table tennis where he was identified, spotted by a coach who was a national level coach, and he said, you must promote him and you must let him play. And I thought maybe he just wants some more children playing, so I agreed to it readily. And from there on, he went to start playing. From there, of course, it was university time, and he said that he's going to apply only to universities where they promote sports and where he can pursue table tennis. So it was Stanford and NYU, because those were the only two uh, colleges that appealed to him. Of course, Stanford was a not an easy dream to achieve. And he got into NYU, and in year one, in Division One of NCAA TT, they got the title. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the real turning point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the NYU said that if you want to go professional, you can do so. And that was like a dream come true opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
So he became professional. And then, of course, there's no turning back from there on. And out of the 4 years, they got title 3 years for NYU, and once they were bronze medalists. So I just think sometimes it's a question of opportunities, or that come
Mm-hmm.
your way.
Mm-hmm.
As I see, this is all by accident, be
Mm-hmm.
it being spotted or then being encouraged even after
Mm-hmm.
university. And that's where it has not only led him, but even us as a family, because we saw his journey and we thought that if we are going to promote sports, why not table tennis? So from
Mm-hmm.
football, we said, expanded to table tennis. And now, of course, we do many more sports as a matter of
Right.
fact.
Yeah. So looks like it's something that naturally emerged and not something you said, hey, you must be really great at it, or that it's not the parents pushing him, but seem to have come from within him. But also you've supported that, like, I know no matter how well off you are, parents worry about a child pursuing a professional sport in the sense that, or what if, it's a very tough to do, or is it taking you away from studies? And did you have any worry about it, or you just said, let him pursue and whatever happens, happens? I mean, what was your attitude about it?
Lakshmi, we promote sports, and I tell this to every parent that we must allow our children to live their dreams. We cannot live
Hmm.
our dreams through them. It's not
Hmm.
fair. And if I have to live what I have said, then the right thing to do is to encourage my child to live his dreams. And that's exactly what has happened. Of course, we as a family want to make sports
Yeah,
aspirational and also inspirational. And that's the reason why we are involved in
right. Yeah,
sports. So it's everything has just come together
yeah,
as one piece of
yeah.
cloth, is woven.
I think
So
there's one side of launching the table tennis league and all that stuff. On the other side, your son was very fortunate to also get the resources, the right training, the affordability, and all that stuff. So you have, in some ways, taken that to heart, and you want to make sure others who do not have the same resources like your son did have the opportunity as well. So, I mean, so your work has expanded not just into the table tennis league, but your foundation working with a lot of kids who may not be able to afford this, but to give them this kind of training. So tell me a little bit about what are the things you're doing to ensure those who may not have the resources also to have the opportunity.
So, a couple of things, Lakshmi. One is that, of course, we want to make it aspirational. We want
Yes.
people to really start playing the game because they think that, it brings you self-esteem, pride, and also purpose. Apart from, of course, to be able to support uh, themselves.
Mhm.
So in that journey, we are ensuring that people, I mean, other athletes, do get enough pay whereby they feel respected.
Mm-hmm.
That is part. And of course, there's no better time than now, as far as India is concerned, to promote sports, because even the government is just really encouraging it, pushing it, and
Mm-hmm.
ensuring that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
children actually take up
Mm-hmm.
sports, not only as a recreational hobby, but beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one part. Second is we do talent identification at a very young age. And the right support.
Mm-hmm.
Often there is good talent that is not supported by guidance. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why they kind of fray away. And then, of course, this thing that, oh, my child is now in 10th standard, in 12th standard, now he has to go to university. And of course, as far as India is concerned, then very often they say, oh, he has to become an engineer, he has to become a doctor, or he has to take up things more seriously. So now let's drop sports. So we said we have to change this whole perception and mindset of parents very often. So we do talent
Mm-hmm.
identification. And then, of course, we give them the right exposure. Children don't play only within India, they go and play overseas, they get the right guidance there, the right coaching. And then when they succeed, it gives not only them, but also their parents a lot of confidence that
Mm-hmm.
this is perhaps the right way ahead. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at
Mm-hmm.
cricket, you will see athletes who have really made stories,
Mm-hmm.
farmers' children, bus conductors' children, electricians' children, are really uh, becoming role models
Mm-hmm.
for millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing we want to achieve in every sport that we are promoting. That how can these athletes be the storyteller? How can
Mm-hmm.
be the heroes? And they are the real
Yeah.
heroes, if you ask me. So that's what we are
And
striving
also, it's really
towards.
nice to see in India now for a change, other than men's cricket, things coming up, even if it is women's cricket or football or table tennis or kabaddi or, sprinting or shuttle, whatever it is, there are like at least 10 other sports that are, people are investing in it. It's not just a naam ke vaste kind of a thing, but people are really investing in it. So it's really great to see us expand our repertoire of sports also a little bit in India. And a lot of times, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about it becoming aspirational, because one of the things is we look at a sport as only from a player point of view, but there's a whole ecosystem around it. There are many, many professional possibilities. You could be a coach, you could be an analyst, you could be all kinds of things. So, how are you going about expanding the pie for sports ecosystem? It's not just the thousands of people you may identify, but like, how do you, if there are 100,000 engineers coming out every year, or even more, so how do we have 100,000 people with sports certificates coming out or whatever? What are your thoughts on that?
So there are multiple things. One is that we as a foundation, we do
Mm-hmm.
something called physical literacy and
Mm-hmm.
capacity building. So one is
Mm-hmm.
1 hour of play for every child in every school.
Mm-hmm.
It will keep them away from diabetes. And as you know, India is the diabetic capital of the world. So this
Mm-hmm.
would perhaps be the easiest way to address that problem. So we are addressing not only, we are not only creating talent and jobs over here, but we are also creating, healthy environment for children, at least for the future.
Mm-hmm.
That is one part. Second is physical literacy. We are saying that we will train PE teachers, because only if there are PE teachers will the children learn to play. That's the
Mm-hmm.
second part. If you see it from the athlete viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
is physical, uh, tactical, technical issue.
Mm-hmm.
So you will first need the coach. So for that, we are saying that we will do coach training.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you look at technical aspect of it, then you will have PE, like physical fitness teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You will have analysts. You will have people to collect data. And as you know, data is the future.
Correct. Yeah. Data analysis, big. Yeah.
If you look at uh, mental health, then there is, of course, you need psychologists, you need so much of support staff over there as well. If
Mm-hmm.
all of them come together, then you are saying that you will have events, be it league, be it one-time event, be it whatever. So for that, you need like venue, you need a sponsorship team, then you need operations team, and you need people to do things on ground,
Mm-hmm.
coordination work. You need equipment for that. So manufacturers is whom you are touching. So you are touching
Mm-hmm.
actually thousands of lives to
Mm-hmm.
then create a product which people think is glamorous and fun. But
Mm-hmm.
behind that one product are lots of unseen lives, lots of effort that goes to make that one thing. And this is true for anything that we do in
Anything, yeah. Like a movie you make or a sports
absolute.
thing you have or a
And
company
then
you
there is
start. Yeah.
videographer, photographer, and it just there's also FMB because people who come there are going to,
Eat.
eat.
Yeah.
People are going
Yeah.
to drink. So it's then
Yeah.
it goes to merchandise. Merchandise, you will sell merchandise. So you are actually supporting a much larger an ecosystem. And
Mm-hmm.
that is what we would want to do. We would want to make
Mm-hmm.
a change, a difference at much larger a level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
So in India, especially, there is a lot of, I mean, I always say India got its real independence in 91, so it's a very young country. And there is a lot of disturbances in the system itself. Like the football league is going through a lot of perturbation right now. And I mean, just when you think, oh my God, things are happening, like things blow up, and then IPL went through its own share of perturbance. And no matter what we start, it seems like the pleasure is always accompanied by perturbance. So is that a sign of a young economy, or is it uh, what do you think is not just the problem but the solution to this, or where is all this going? Because right now they're saying, I don't know, as a outside person reading, and it says we don't know what's going to happen to the football thing in India. Will it even be there or not? And so, how do we come out of this perturbance? And there's a lot of people saying, I mean, for example, even in track and all these kinds of stuff, people say it's terrible facilities, and there's a lot of corruption in how they pick people for teams. I mean, there is a lot of, for every accomplishment, there is something that pulls us back, you know. So is it a natural trials and tribulations of an economy growing up, or what do you think? What would you like to see happen?
Lakshmi, just a uh, very simple analogy, if I may say, is that when you have a meal, okay, you
Hmm.
can't have only desserts, even though we love desserts, right? You
Yeah.
have something savory, but
Not me. I like my Andhra avakai. So
you need something spicy.
yes.
And that's what life is, I feel.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to be always a smooth sailing. But
Mm-hmm.
I must say, I'm not sure if you are aware, but just yesterday, government has made this announcement, actually, the sports ministry saying they are deferring some of the elections
Mm-hmm.
for all the national sports federations. And I think they want to really clean up the whole system. They are
Mm-hmm.
committed and things are changing. And I feel the
Mm-hmm.
most difficult thing to do in life is to bring
Mm-hmm.
about a change.
Right.
So
And also the patience to see the change happen. We want everything instantly
also, what the
ourselves.
government is now suggesting is that one corporate, one sport.
Mm-hmm.
So if say if I am committed to promote one sport, I will go all the way from grassroots to podium level.
Mm-hmm.
And that is important because otherwise, what happens is people come in bits and pieces and they come in as fractions, which doesn't help the larger picture. I mean, it helps, but it's not the same when you are doing everything from grassroots all the way because then you have seen the entire ladder and it gives a lot of continuity to athletes more than anybody else. So there
Sorry, does this mean that each company can support only one sport, not two sports?
no, you can support multiple, but your focus will be one. And I always feel that when your focus is one, you will end up doing maximum for that sport. So
Mm.
we as a family are also involved in lots of sports. But if I would say, if I were to say it for myself, I would say that we are most committed in table tennis. But like
Right, yeah.
we do
Because you started
volleyball,
the league there, right? It's
not,
sort
but
of.
that's what I mean. See, we do from grassroots to school level to uh, college level to league, city-based leagues to
Mm-hmm.
international leagues. So you are covering all the grounds, and that
Mm-hmm.
makes a big difference. Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
like we say, we promote volleyball. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
we are only doing parts of it, or we are in football. We are
Mm-hmm.
only in the state of Tamil Nadu. So I'm not saying that we are not making a difference. Of course, we are making a difference, but it's not the same as we are doing in table tennis. And that's what I think the government is also looking at, that if one corporate or one entity, be,
Mm-hmm.
if they focus on one sport in particular, that
Mm.
will really help the entire ecosystem. And of course, we can, as I always say, that if you like one sport, you like them all. So you
So
have,
I want to go back a little bit. We talked about your growing up, Vita. I found something very interesting about you. When I sit next to you and you're having a phone call, I cannot hear anything you're saying at all. Like you're super quiet. But if you have a point to make, if you have to, with the staff, if something is there, etc., they hear you loud and clear. It's not that you are incapable of talking loud. But so you said once to me that your father taught you that you should, whatever you're speaking, shouldn't disturb the person next to you or something. So tell me a little bit about your parents and what was your upbringing like?
as I said, we had a very simple upbringing. We had
Mm-hmm.
simple pleasures of life. Uh, I lost my father when I was really in school,
Mm-hmm.
and recently my mom as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think what
Yeah.
they taught me has really stayed with me. Uh, my father always told me that if you are talking to person next to you, the person sitting on the other side should not know what you have told the first person. And that's
Mm-hmm.
also part of our value system at home, where we say that if you give by one hand, the other hand should not know, what you have given. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not, and again, if I can connect all this back to Mahatma Gandhi, is simplicity, and we don't need to do any propaganda about everything that we do. So
Mm-hmm.
it helps to stay understated, it helps to be low profile, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
I also like it. As far as my mother was concerned, she was very egalitarian and she allowed us to do whatever we wanted to do. But there were
Mm-hmm.
times when she made sure, and she, you know, in loud and rather no uncertain words to say who the boss is. And that's
Yeah.
something I learned when I was doing football, where I said every team member has a say, everybody can do what they want. At the end of it, you know who the boss is. So these are
Mm-hmm.
the simple things that stayed with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
uh, and for me, value system is more important than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else falls in place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of the.
Yeah. So, is it in your life that, one of the things I say always when I talk to young people is that the one decision that's going to make or break your future is who you choose to marry. Like it's sort of that can, like make your life pleasurable or totally painful. And, and also for you to achieve your best, I mean, I always feel that Jalaj and you both have a together yet separate lives. You know, he has his paths, you have your paths, but you're together as well. So, how did you decide about who you wanted to marry?
Again, as I said,
Did
my
you also know, like when you're growing, when you were young, this is the kind of person I want, or how did you say, this is the person I'm going to marry?
you know, I Jalaj and I went to the same school,
Mm-hmm.
but of course,
Yeah,
in school, we our priorities were clear.
yeah,
I was having a great time in my own, I was on my own trip in life, was not bothered about who's around and who's not around.
yeah.
But I was very clear that I want somebody who is aligned as far as thinking is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think I saw in Jalaj, that
Mm-hmm.
he gives me a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
He also encourages me when I'm not sure about it myself. So
Mm-hmm.
he really gives me that little push from behind and he says that,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you something personal. This is, anything that needs to be done at home.
Mm-hmm.
The standard line is that, oh, mom can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I get irritable and I said, what is this every time? You guys are after me. Why can't you all do it yourself?
Mm.
So, of course, the best way to say is that, mom, you're so capable, of doing this.
Oh, that's a nice way to get you to do all the work. So don't ever fall for
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. So, but he does, Jalish does this even otherwise. He always tells me that you are really, undermining your capabilities. He's saying you can do
Mm-hmm.
so much more. So keep doing. And that's where it has come from.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I was doing this on my own, I would do so much.
Yeah.
But as he keeps pushing me, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow, it just all falls in place. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel that maybe I am capable of doing a lot more than what I think I am.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that synergy that has
Mm.
really got us.
Right.
uh,
And a lot of the even business leaders talk about this in terms of, like if men have two of the 10 requirements needed, they'll convince you why those two requirements are important. But if women have eight of the 10 requirements needed, they'll apologize for the two they don't have. So it's sort of like,
No, in
so
our case, it's a little different. Sometimes I
yeah,
just say that please do this because I'm not going to do it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying it's really great to see you both maintaining your separate identities, separate interests also. Like in football, you're the boss. It's not like you're there as his spouse. I mean, that's your baby and that's what you do. And in his things, he does. So it's sort of you're each other's partner in different things. So that's really nice to see. I also want to talk a little bit about, you both come from very wealthy families, very, uh, is that something how you grew up always, or were you in a very simple family as things changed? And also, both of you have somehow maintained being very down to earth also. And I don't mean to say this as a praise or something. I'm in a very practical thing. I'm talking about how do we raise our children? How do we raise ourselves to not be um, influenced by superficial things, while they're very important. Uh, where do both your ideas come from? Is this something you talk about? Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, Lakshmi, in my growing years, I think the most special memory I have is what my father again taught me. One, I mean, both my parents, because I'm sure my mother also supported, so it happened. Every Diwali, which is a big festival for us, we would
Mm-hmm.
have a gathering of about maybe few hundred children. Either they would be from remand homes, from orphanages, or from not so privileged backgrounds. And they would come for a fun evening. Now, what is that fun evening? Is that first there will be some sort of entertainment, then there'll be some, then we'll have a sit down dinner for all of them. And thereafter, in the true spirit of Diwali, we would have fireworks show for them. And then
Mm,
as they left, each one would be given a gift that they would certainly remember, for a long time.
mhm,
And we were always made part of this event, both my
mhm,
brothers and myself. And we had to go there. There were some children who had no exposure of this kind of food, how to eat, what with. We would
mhm,
literally feed them with our hands.
mhm,
And that is what always stayed with me. And I ask my question, even I ask this question to myself even today, that how privileged are we and how can we make a difference in this lifetime? And
mhm, mhm,
as part of Hindu philosophy, they say that
mhm,
we get a human life after a million lives.
mhm,
What are we going to do with that one human life
mhm,
that is going to really make a difference?
mhm,
And
mhm,
it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have is
mhm,
differentiates you from everybody else. So
mhm,
these basic value system of not uh, what do I say, that it's really giving back to others is what
mhm,
gives us pleasure more than anything else. And that's
mhm,
what we do even with our children. And that's the reason why we said we will start foundation and we will do
mhm,
all these activities, because we are not here to make money.
mhm.
Beyond the point, no matter how much money you make, as we said, you're still going to eat the same dal chawal.
Correct,
You're going to
correct, yeah.
eat the same food, and
Mhm,
you're going to look for satisfaction beyond that.
mhm,
And
mhm,
we feel, Jalaj and I both feel that this is the real satisfaction of, touching lives. And so I must say here that, as part of our foundation,
mm.
we have touched almost 650,000 lives by now. And
Wow.
and that gives me more pleasure than celebrating any birthday or anything else, as a
Mhm,
or any other
mhm,
event in life.
mhm,
Uh, Even during COVID, I remember it was my 50th birthday and also our anniversary. And we said, what should we do? So we said, why don't we feed children? I mean, why don't we feed lives? Because so many people were stranded. So many people didn't have jobs and so much of uncertainty. And that's the time we said we will tie up with Anamrita, an
mhm,
organization that feeds, children and also others. So that's what we did because that's more important for us than anything else.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
What difference can we make for people who work for us, staff
Mhm,
at work? And,
mhm,
I'm very proud to say there is one change that we brought about just a month ago.
mhm,
In a Hindu wedding, we have something, a ceremony whereby we worship a girl child.
mhm,
uh, what happens is that you collect about 11 girls from within the family and friends, and
mhm,
you do a little tikka and you give them a gift.
mhm,
And we said all our family girls have enough.
mhm.
So why don't we do this for all our staff's children?
Mhm.
So all the
Yeah.
staff who had girl child, we said
Mhm.
we will give them a little gift. And
Mm.
I feel this is more important to me
Yeah,
than, giving gifts to people
I
who have
agree. I
everything.
agree. I agree.
So, and I feel very often people look up to us as change makers.
Mhm,
I feel if we can do this, then we can
mhm.
really change the world in a way that's.
I think it's a matter of also like it's having a ripple effect, right? So when you do something to someone, them getting inspired to do something to somebody in their circle. So it's sort of you. So it's
I speak about this particular incident all the time now because I feel that if even 5%, 1% of the world can do this. I mean, at least in India, it will
Mm-hmm.
go a long way.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to come back to asking you, but there are some questions from the audience. So let me ask you. So one says, Vita, do you ever feel like you have to prove yourself more because you're a woman? Uh, and what did you do in that moment?
I have grown up and lived with a lot of self-confidence. And
Mm-hmm.
also my persona where I just feel I'll do what I like. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'm very fortunate to have married to Jalaj, who also supports that. So
Mm-hmm.
I've never had this challenge. Very often people, I mean, there are situations where, there is a lot of male dominance, but as my family says, I have no filter. So I speak my mind and
Mm-hmm.
I say what I need to say. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever feel that way. And I don't think anybody should ever feel that way. Because by saying that, sometimes I feel we are just putting ourselves down. Why should we be there to prove we are one amongst everybody else and we are who we are and we will live
Mm-hmm.
with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do feel though that I think it's the way we are raised, the kind of confidence we had while being raised and having the privilege of going to the right schools, getting the right education, right access to information. At least all the women who have that should own that at least, because there are so many who haven't had that opportunity, who haven't been given that privilege. So I think at least, any of us who's in the educated, out there working, blah, blah, etc., we've always overcome so many obstacles that literally millions of women wouldn't have the opportunity to, or men, would have the opportunity to. So another question is, how do you deal with criticism, especially when it feels personal or unfair? Or first, I mean, when you're out there in the public, you're running a team, you're doing things, and I'm sure there are times people say, you're being unfair or rude or whatever. So how do you deal with criticism?
I feel that as a boss, one must learn to accept criticism with a pinch of salt and sometimes even positively. Good
Mm-hmm.
part is that people are able to say how they
Mm-hmm.
feel and what they feel. For me, that's more important.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there is the situation where everybody says, "Oh, you are so good. What you are doing is right." Everything is just affirmative, which is not true, which is not correct, and which is just terrible. I feel, for anybody's upbringing or anybody's life. So criticism again is growing up, and we have to be mature enough to deal with it. And as
Mm-hmm.
I said earlier, with dessert, you do need spices. So
Yeah.
it's good to have a mix of everything. Otherwise, we feel we are greater than the great, which is not true.
Actually, I have a question for you, Vita. When you got married and had children, etc., while the children were growing up, going to school, did you work or did you do the sports thing at that time? What did you do for I don't know, first 15 years of your kids growing up?
So when my kids were little, I
Mm-hmm.
was a full-time proud mother. I
Mm-hmm.
spent as much time as I wanted to with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, my whole life revolved around them. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
very happy because I feel those are the most formative years for children. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
they really imbibe the values. They learn to live with a lot of security because they know
Mm-hmm.
somebody is always around for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was privileged enough to say that I don't need to work and I can be with them. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, once they started kindergarten, I used to go and do things at the kindergarten and have a good time over there as well. Then I started having classes for children, craft classes. And I think that was a joyous time for me.
Mm-hmm.
So again, a lot of things were flexible
Mm-hmm.
and I still spent enough time for my children. Once they started school, and they had a very definitive schedule, is the time when I said that now I can work, because then I knew that I had those few hours where I could do what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sports is something, since Mudit was into it, as I wanted to promote sports. And then, of course, it came out, it just so happened that it went from one sport to the other. And now we
Mm-hmm.
live sports.
Yeah, because one of the questions is about, many Herky women are navigating career pauses, transition, and sometimes self-doubt, So what mindset, shift has helped you? Um, you moved from you were a mom to I'll, do classes to owning a sports team. I mean, it's not an easy transition, however privileged you are, it's not an easy transition. So when people go through, oh my God, I'm going to leave this and jump into this other thing that's totally new to me. So what kind of, if people are worried or doubtful or what is your advice to somebody who's taken a pause and want to come back and start something or whatever, what would you like to say to them?
I have seen this over and over again with lots of people around me, that
Mm,
uh, taking a break is sometimes good. It makes you think that, are you doing the right thing? Is this what
mm-hmm,
makes you happy? Is this what you
mm-hmm,
want to do in life? And is this
mm-hmm,
good for you?
mm-hmm,
So for me, it was just a very natural journey. For my After my children, I got into this. And then I said, my whole life, I cannot be doing craft classes. I got to move beyond that, because
mm-hmm,
that's not me. I mean, I still enjoy. As I give somebody's, a friend's child comes, I'll still be doing craft. I have no problems. But I'm not sure whether I really want to do that full time.
mm-hmm,
And that's where you got to have that self belief. Because
mm-hmm,
I feel that if you can do one thing well, you can do lots of things well. If,
mm-hmm,
and it's not necessary what you have studied and what you pursue in life has a
mm-hmm,
correlation, at least not in my life. And I've
mm-hmm,
seen that
mm-hmm.
in lots of lives, apart from, say, if you're a lawyer or a medical doctor or something where you need, specific education. Outside of that, you can do lot, like my daughter, she's studied neuroscience, but she was a consultant, and I'm still trying to figure out how did that happen.
Yeah,
See, that was a fantastic journey. She learned so much, in life. And now when she talks about some of the corporates, I feel like I really need to up my game. I need to learn so much more. So you
yeah.
never know. It's good to have an open mind
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
say that you are willing to embrace a new world. You are
mm-hmm,
willing
mm-hmm,
to learn new things. Then I feel sky's the limit. It's
mm-hmm,
like when we
mm-hmm.
grew up, we didn't have computers. Forget AI. Now
Right,
we
yeah,
have adopted to everything because
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
need of the hour. So why wait for it becoming need of the hour? Why can't we not adopt it? So I feel it's good to stay open-minded and say that, yeah, I'm willing to explore unknown territories.
So in what way do you think AI going to influence the sports world? Will one day we have AI generated uh, people playing against each other, and or what in what way is it going to influence the data side of things, or what do you see?
I feel data and AI can really help performance. But at the
Mm-hmm,
same time, I would ask this question to everybody, that AI is generated depending on what you feed.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Data is, used depending on what you feed and how you use that data. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually you do need a human brain.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can be tackled, I don't deny it. And at the
Mm-hmm,
same time, it's human that we all
mm-hmm.
like to win. So if you're going to
Yeah.
play only with a robo and say you're going to lose all the time, you will not continue doing that. It's like a
Mm-hmm,
child. Why do we allow our kids to win games even though when we know that, we are much better? It's because we encourage, everybody likes to win. We play to win.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So beyond the point, I feel it's the human life,
Yeah.
it's the human heart and the human mind that's going to still play a critical role.
But do you see today, whether it's your company or other sports companies, embracing it to, in what way are you thinking it'll add to or anything in the sports industry? In what way is AI going to influence the sports industry?
One is that we are going to save a lot of time because we are going to
Mm-hmm.
do things AI generated. Like earlier times, if we had to say, do a simple poster, okay, which you
Mm-hmm.
want to put up in an arena, we would spend hours doing it. You put a feed on even a chat GPT, it'll create within seconds and minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of, uh, I would say, a creation can be done so much faster and so much more efficiently that
Mm-hmm.
people will have time to do lots of other things.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
Precision is going to be the other key factor because everything is going to be so precise, everything is going to be so perfect
Mm-hmm.
that there's going to be little room for error.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
performance will improve dramatically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so how
I
you
mean, it's
want that?
actually quite amazing to see the machines now where you're running. It'll tell you that if you move your hand 1 inch to this side, your speed might go up by this fraction of a second. I mean, it's mind-boggling how much the machine is tuned to you to tell you what to do to, but everybody is doing that. So the thing
Yeah.
is, you still have to be a step ahead.
No, I
It's
mean,
not.
we use all these technology even in table tennis, heat mapping. What angle do you play the ball at? Where does it land? What happens if your force is little less or more? And this is
Mm,
actually being adopted even by Sweden and France.
mhm,
And Sweden, if you look at the men's table tennis
mhm,
individual event at the Olympics, uh, silver medalist they
mhm,
already use all this data.
mhm,
So all this data will really take you to another level of performance. And this is
mhm,
for every sport because
mhm,
this is
mhm.
something that we cannot, it's otherwise we used to do it by trial and error.
Right.
This is all auto generated and done so much more efficiently.
Hmm. Also, there was a thing of somebody has an eye for it and they can tell, and that's what, like there was so much of, and there's very few who were like that. And now I think it's accessible to a lot
Many,
more people, etc.
absolutely.
So, one of the last few questions for you is about women in sports. How is the status in India of women in sports? What are some of the things are already happening or should happen to make sure more women are in sports and that they are equally compensated?
Yeah, we as the ultimate table tennis league,
Mm-hmm,
we have equal representation of men and women.
mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm.
pay them depending on their ranking, not based on their gender.
Right.
So we
Mm-hmm,
really follow this practice because we feel that there is no difference between men and women. If you look at India, we
mm-hmm,
actually worship lots of goddesses.
mm-hmm.
We
Right.
talk about Nari Shakti, which is women empowerment for
Mm-hmm,
decades, So
mm-hmm,
this is not a new concept to us. But
mm-hmm,
when I started football, I was
mm-hmm,
the only woman.
mm-hmm.
I had one
Yeah.
girl who used to help out because she was the only one who spoke Tamil. Nobody else
Yeah.
did. So it was
Mm-hmm,
only Anusha and myself. Now, if I look at it, we have many more women, we also have two girls team.
mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
I look at my office, when we started, I was like, again, the only woman. Today, we
Mm-hmm,
have almost 40% of women in our office. So
mm-hmm,
everywhere this is changing, women are coming out, they want to work and they want to do something with their lives, which is great. And
mm-hmm,
whether we like it or not, an earning member always has more respect at home.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
not necessarily only earning, but
Mm-hmm,
somebody who's doing something in life. So just because you're working in not-for-profit field doesn't mean that you do not have respect because you are not earning for like making profits like corporates. So I feel
mm-hmm,
people are coming out. There are many more women who are working And I actually get amazed by some of the women in my office, you know. They cook in the morning, then they travel by public transport, they get to work, they go back home, they look after their children, their homework, they again look after meals, husband's needs, and anybody else's needs, if at all at home, and they're
Mm-hmm.
back to work again the next day. And then I feel that I don't think I'm doing enough. Maybe I should work a lot harder. So they are
Mm-hmm.
the real inspiration, if you ask me. Like
Mm-hmm.
in, you know, we do some work in rural India
Mm-hmm.
where we are promoting embroidery. So I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to one of them. So I said, "How did you get into this?" So she's saying, "This is just my hobby." And she's saying, when my children are at work, when I'm done with all the cooking, cleaning, taking care of everything at home, that's the time I sit and do embroidery. And now she sells it online. It's a
Mm-hmm.
thing. So
Mm-hmm.
if people can work so hard and can
Mm-hmm.
use their time so wisely, I feel I
Mm-hmm.
have lots to learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you were growing up, or even now, did you have role models or a book that you always looked up to, or a movie that you loved, or a poem that you loved? Is there something that you keep going back to for inspiration?
You know, my favorite book, which I don't know how many times I have read, and I don't mind reading it over and over again because there's always something new that I find, is a book called Reflections by
Mm-hmm.
Swami Vivekanand.
Mm-hmm.
And Swami Vivekanand died at the age, I think in his 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And the kind of knowledge that he had,
Mm-hmm.
which was 100 years ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel that if we can relate to that even today, what a
Mm-hmm.
genius he must have been.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would urge everybody who's listening to this
Mm-hmm.
uh, event
Mm-hmm.
today, that if
Yeah.
you have the chance, if you can get hold of this copy, if you enjoy reading, try
Mm-hmm.
your hand at it. Even if nothing else, if you don't want to buy a book, just Google on the net. I'm sure there'll be lots of teachings of Swami Vivekanand, and he was just fantastic. He was not religious. Sometimes his image may kind of
Mm-hmm.
uh, reflect that, but no, he talks about promoting all religions. But I just think ways of learning. That is one.
Mm-hmm.
And second thing is Bhagavad Gita.
Mm-hmm.
Bhagavad Gita teaches you how to live. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's such a powerful uh, piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
It was done, I don't know how many thousands of
Mm-hmm.
years ago. I think
Yeah.
two things really
Mm-hmm.
stay with me. Anytime I'm low, anytime I'm
Mm-hmm.
dejected or upset about something, one of the
Mm-hmm.
two books definitely gives me answer.
So I have to ask this as a last question, Vita, is that it seems when I talk to you, like, you had a great childhood, good marriage, children, profession, etc. It seems like everything is positive, positive, positive. I'm sure at times uh, things may not go exactly the way you wanted, or there is a setback, or whatever. So first of all, does it ever happen to you, or somehow never ever anything like that happened? And when it does, what gets you over that doubt or setback, or whatever?
I will not believe anybody who says that no, that life is only good. Life is
Yeah,
up and downs. If you go up, you got to come down.
yeah.
And it's not a bed of roses because we humans are greedy. We want more and we want
Mm,
the best and we don't want
mm-hmm,
to settle for anything less. So, of
mm-hmm,
course, there are ups and downs. Of course, there are dejections. Of course, there are heartbreaks. There are so many things that you wish went your way didn't. Like a simple thing like losing a parent.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you explain that? And now
Mm-hmm,
even both. So like that, there are so many things, that you wish happen
mm,
differently. But I always feel whatever happens, happens for good. And there
Mhm.
is always a learning. And if you adopt this philosophy, then you will sail a lot more easier. There is something else that, I learned, rather I heard, at a talk, and it says that, you know, there was a person who was walking on the beach and an ardent believer in God. And at that point of time, that person was really very, very low and completely, devastated. So he's asking this question to God, that God, you always say that, you tell me that, you're always with me, but I am walking on the sand and I see my
Yeah.
footsteps, alone.
Mm.
God says that, child, that's because I was carrying you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Footsteps in the sand. Yeah.
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 So, no matter what, I always feel that there is something good that's going to happen. Believe
Mm.
in your own self, believe that things
Mm-hmm.
will eventually work out,
Mm-hmm.
and it will.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for your time. Anything you want to say as a, line of inspiration, something you want to leave everyone with? What would you want everybody to remember?
I would say don't shy away from opportunities. You never know what lays ahead. Just
Yeah.
just go in an unexplored world, and you never know what will come your way, Don't hold back. Just go
Yeah.
out there and do it.
I know it's like there's a great quote at Intel they used to use. Bob Noyce I think said it. It's something like always it's like don't be encumbered by problems. Like go off and do something wonderful. It's always just just go off and try. You never know what will come out of it. Just go off and try. And I do want to wrap up by saying that while and sometimes I feel extremely privileged to have this kind of conversations. Um, while there are so many who would not, so many bright minds, so many talented people are kept down, and men, women, children, all over. So I do want to end by saying that it's not all about these privileged conversations, but I truly hope that somewhere someone who sees this or whatever, if it can change a true change where the opportunity has not been given, that's truly, I feel, is the purpose of this, and to have such conversations that if something strikes something in somebody that makes them break the shackles a little bit, that's truly what will make us happy. So with that, thank you so much for your time. I know this is the holiday season, lots of things going on personally and professionally. So thank you for taking the time. And to all the audience out there, thank you for joining us and the questions and all that. We'll be back again with another interview. And thank you so much, Vita.
Thank you, Lakshmi,
Thanks.
and
Okay.
happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.